Now on KGW News, hospitals in crisis mode. Respiratory infections fill pediatric units, leaving doctors to issue a stern warning.
Because everybody wants to go to the big family party. But honestly, we got to be really careful for our kids.
Plus, hundreds of criminal cases are dropped over a lack of public defenders. Why Oregon's system is so strained. And later, a Portland fixture leaves the city. What the Alpenrose Dairy move could make way for.
This is probably one of the last giant chunks of real estate that's developable.
Your news starts now. And first to breaking news, we are following out of Virginia tonight, where a shooting has left multiple people dead or injured. This happened in Chesapeake at a Walmart there. No word on the exact number of fatalities, but Chesapeake police say it was fewer than 10 people, with at least 5 others hurt. They did confirm the single shooter involved has died. This is a developing story, and we'll update you on air and on KGW.com with the latest information when it comes in. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. Today, local pediatric wards and hospitals are hitting crisis status. It comes after weeks of warnings about RSV and other respiratory illnesses spreading through the community. Alma McCarty joins us now with an update from doctors. Alma?
Well, Laurel, it's hard to forget the strains on hospital capacity last winter due to COVID and the Omicron surge. This time around, 3 illnesses, COVID, the flu, and RSV, are putting pressure on hospital staff and space.
As masking and social distancing eased up post-pandemic, health experts say it's allowed respiratory illnesses to thrive. RSV hitting young kids, the elderly, and the immunocompromised especially hard.
It's coming at the beginning of the flu season as well, and we haven't gotten rid of COVID either. So it's a combination, sort of the triple whammy this year.
Now, hospitals around Portland, Oregon, and really the whole country are overwhelmed, in particular the pediatric units. Dr. Marianne Parsley, president of the Oregon Medical Association and a primary care physician in East Portland, explains.
If there aren't beds because they're all occupied by the RSV patients, it becomes really tough. And if you're talking about having to reassign staff to the pediatric units, then you have trouble staffing the adult units.
This week, OHSU Dornbecker ran out of pediatric ICU beds, and Randall Children's is postponing some non-urgent pediatric surgeries. Because they're in crisis mode, some patients in need of critical care are also being transferred to other hospitals.
I don't think that the hospitals in general are at the place they were at the peak of the Omicron surge, just because that tended to be more adult care and adult ICU care. But for the pediatric, there are less pediatric beds in the hospital because kids don't get sick at the same rate as adults do. And so they have fewer beds, fewer ICU beds, and therefore the capacity is being strained because of what we've got.
Since the vast majority of children who get RSV will have mild cases, doctors urge families to check with your primary care physician first and avoid the ER unless symptoms turn severe.
If the child is febrile, if they're looking like they're getting tired, if they're short of breath, if they're wheezing, absolutely take them to the emergency room, please.
Now, it's worth mentioning that compounding these problems is a shortage of amoxicillin, the antibiotic used to treat many respiratory infections. As we kick off the holiday season, health experts say it's important to remember not to be around other people if you are sick. Consider wearing a mask around vulnerable people, and of course, wash your hands. Laurel?
So important. Thank you, Alma. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, the suspect in the shooting at a Colorado gay nightclub is non-binary, according to his defense team. Court filings list the 22-year-old as using they, them pronouns. The suspect changed his name just before his 16th birthday. It might be relevant as investigators look into a motive for the shooting that killed 5 people. Authorities have previously said the suspect could face both murder and hate crime charges. The Adidas headquarters in Portland is cleaning up from vandalism. According to police, 9 people wearing ski masks and goggles smashed at least 50 windows and doors at the North Portland Adidas campus Sunday morning. An activist website is taking credit for the damage, explaining that Adidas is a major sponsor of the World Cup. They cite concerns over the many migrant workers who were killed in the building of the soccer stadium in Qatar. And a scare at a Washington high school this morning turned out to be a prank. The Clark County Sheriff's Office got a call claiming students at Heritage High School had been shot. Deputies arrived within minutes and realized there was no incident and the report was a hoax. To be clear, there was no shooting and nobody was hurt. The Sheriff's Office is investigating who made that call. Now to the ongoing shortage of public defenders in Oregon. This week, the Multnomah County District Attorney called that shortage a, quote, urgent threat to public safety. Daisy Caballero explains how hundreds of cases have been dismissed this year alone and why Oregon is in this situation.
Between February and October, 285 criminal court cases were dismissed in Multnomah County because of the lack of public defense attorneys. That large number prompted the county's DA to weigh in this week, hoping to draw more attention to the crisis. Mike Schmidt says so many cases being dismissed sends a message to individuals who have committed a crime that there's no accountability. Mayor Ted Wheeler weighed in on the issue on the Lars Larson radio show today.
There's no question in my mind that we need more prosecutorial capacity in the district attorney's office. There's no question in my mind that we need more public defenders so that we don't have cases summarily dismissed.
More than 2,400 felony hearings have been delayed this year between February and October, according to Schmidt. He says the courts are forced into the position to release defendants without a defense counsel. To show the scope of the crisis, his office will start publishing a list showing every case dismissed each week in Multnomah County because of the lack of defense counsel. Oregon's public defense system is the only one in the nation that relies entirely on contractors, like large nonprofit defense firms and smaller private defense attorneys that contracts for cases and independent attorneys who can take cases at will. But some firms and private attorneys are periodically refusing to take new cases because of the workload, poor pay rates, and late payments from the state.
I don't accept any part of the criminal justice system throwing their hands in the air and saying we don't have enough people. If you don't have enough people, then go out and recruit them, hire them. If you can't recruit them and hire them, then do something different.
And in June, Oregon lawmakers approved $100 million for the troubled public defense system. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
Our investigative team did a deep dive into the public defender shortage and its impact. Our special called Injustice is streaming now on KGW+. You can find that on our free Roku and Fire TV app. Now to our homeless crisis. The city of Portland's trying to figure out where to place 6 large designated camping sites. It's part of the mayor's new plan, approved by council, to get people off sidewalks. Mayor Ted Wheeler is in the process of meeting with all of Portland's neighborhood associations and business districts. The city says the 6 sites will be 2 to 4 acres and professionally managed. Each will have up to 150 people at first. The city hopes to somehow place each near transit, but distanced from residential areas, schools, and business districts.
It's probably going to be difficult to find those locations.
I would feel pretty comfortable living near people like that and would hope to expand my community.
I live in this neighborhood, and I think it's a very nice neighborhood. I would not want to have a large group of homeless in here.
Next week, the mayor's meeting with service providers and those experiencing homelessness. The mayor's office hasn't publicly set a deadline to find the locations, only saying it will happen in the near future. Long lines spill out of a local nonprofit. The Sunshine Division said they had their busiest day ever yesterday, with people picking up emergency food supplies. Rising costs are causing more and more people to seek help. The Sunshine Division doubled their all-time record for the number of families needing a food box ahead of Thanksgiving. As Bryant Clerkley explains, they're calling this deeply concerning and asking for your help.
We had a line literally 50 yards down the street, and it was a little bit of every walk of life.
A long line full of people bundled up in the cold waiting for food. This was the busiest day in 100 years of service for the Sunshine Division. Over 1,100 families showed up to get some help, some food for the holiday weekend. 200 more families had a food box delivered, 1,300 in total. To give you an idea of just how much of a dire situation Americans are in, compare that to the previous record of 625 families.
This year, we're serving 4 times as many households as we did in 2019.
I also met Devin. He's homeless and not the usual clientele for the Sunshine Division, who mostly serves working families. But Devin walked up to see if he could get some food, and they don't turn anyone away.
Oh, it's really nice because it means more of my funds are going towards things that I need, like shelter, clothing, hygiene.
The Sunshine Division relies on donations, but because everyone's money doesn't go as far now, inflation means fewer donations. The cost of groceries have gone up 13% in the past year, housing prices have gone up 6%, and energy spending costs have increased by almost 20%. Hamburg says the nonprofit needs help.
Give what you can. Give to your local food relief organizations like Sunshine Division that are on the front lines helping people face to face every day. We need your help more than ever. And even if it's a little tight or maybe it's a little less than you could do before, we need that help because it's just exponentially busier than anything we could have ever imagined.
At Feed the Mass on Northwest Davis, crews are preparing about 1,500 Thanksgiving meals to send to nonprofits that feed people in need. Demand here, too, is higher than it's ever been.
So the number of people needing food and needing what we provide is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, frankly, it's exceeding our ability to keep up.
Bryant Clerkley, KGW News.